Welcome back to K&L Farms, and a lot of subject matter to cover today, and and it's important. At the end of the video, I'll link somewhere on the video the most important thing that I did for fire prevention, and that's the subject matter today is fire prevention. It's been raining a couple days. The burn ban is still on where I live. I can't burn brush yet. I checked this morning. But the topic is that two things: the fire down in Hawaii and Canada this year is fire prevention, and the two things that subject matters I'm dealing with today is one is if a major fire comes through, brush fire comes through, you're not going to be able to stop it. Gather up your stuff and make your preparations and then go. But what I'm attempting to do is slow it down. As a volunteer fire department person, we don't try and stop it. We just try and contain it long enough that we can get enough bodies or enough equipment on scene to take care of it. So I'm in right now fire prevention season. And early on in the channel, if you go back on my channel, you'll see that there's seasons involved. It's been raining for a couple of days. I felt safe enough that I could actually do some preparations with the tractor. And I'm not promoting you go out and buy a tractor, which I'll illustrate in just a minute. But a tractor and a brush hog, they were both bought used in '07. Give you an idea of how long I've owned that tractor. But don't rush out and buy a tractor and a brush hog just for this purposes. And what I'm attempting to do is cut a fire trail, and I'll show you here in just a minute. Cut a fire trail, and if I have a fire trail, an area large enough that I can actually fight the fire, and predominantly in my area, fire will come from the north, the east and the west. And my southern boundaries are pretty well taken care of. In fact, they're probably taken care of better than what I can do. And the other thing that I was thinking about this morning was back when I was working, a lot of guys or a lot of people would actually say, hey, I don't want to retire because I have nothing to do. You get a homestead, a farm, a piece of property, whatever you're doing, that is not your consideration. You go the other way. How do I have enough time to do everything I want to achieve? And you kind of break it down into seasons and pick a subject matter that you're doing that season. And right now I've started my fire prevention. Okay, so building a fire break. I try and build a fire break at least 12 feet wide. It does two things for me. One is slows the fire down, because remember, you're not going to stop it. You're just trying to slow it down. And two is if I show up with a brush rig and there's no access to the house, there's no access to the property, and I have to fight a brush rig in, or I have to bring a hand crew in, and a hand crew basically it's about 1 meter, 3 feet wide, and they spend a lot of time and energy just cutting a 3 foot wide down to non-combustible material down the perimeter of your house. You're taking up a lot of assets on that fire. So if you spend now, when it's been raining and it's starting to turn, we're into fall, it's starting to turn into, and you spend a couple 3 weeks just making preparations for your property, you're way ahead, because come next August, there's going to be fires, and in my case, it's not. I think about it. It's not if the fire's coming, it's when the fire's coming. So if I make preparations now for when it comes, I'm better off than trying to make preparations in August of next year when it's 105 and people can't commute. Now I didn't mention around the house, because the house I've pretty much taken care of. I'm out in the main area of the property. The house you should take care of almost immediately. And let's go back to not having to buy a tractor or a brush hog. Now, both these items I've owned for a long time. They're probably antiques. and I will link them in the description. If all you have is a shovel and an axe, this is how I started. If I can do it, you can do it. And I will link both these on the Amazon here shortly. And then the only other subject matter I wanted to show you is, now you can see right directly in front of the camera, I've taken the brush hog around and I've cut down this. But this is the material I'm talking about. Now I don't know where you're at if this is the material, but this is combustible material. Fire is more than likely going to come from the north. And if I take care of this combustible material, which serves no real purpose, in fact it's kind of a pain in the butt, and then I take this brush hog and I run it around and I cut paths through to get either a brush rig up there on the top, or the fire slows down. I've got a significant break, which there's a pretty good break behind me, probably 300, probably 300 feet. There's a pretty good break, but if it jumps that primary break and gets on my property, I want to slow it down enough that I can actually evacuate the house or attempt to fight the fire somewhat. And that's kind of what I had today. And thank you, and have a good day.